A pilot podcast.
God, Cody, I don't know why you always interrupt the song.
Hi, pilot podcast. It's about me.
He's always got to be the... Whoa.
Sorry, I just felt
Whoa there.
trying to end this dialogue. I don't think it's that interesting. We're moving on now.
Oh. Hi, guys.
Hi.
We're a pilot
pilot
podcast.
Cody, why are you talking while she's talking? No, I'm just
God.
kidding. All right, sorry. Anyway,
You can't get a fucking word in.
I will leave right now.
Oh, no, don't. We like you.
Okay.
that didn't take a lot. I didn't even get the chance to give my pitch on why to stay. I was preparing a big speech of why he needed to stay, and
Franny's enough
No.
of a reason.
yeah, I guess so.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Hi. We're
What's
a pilot
going on, kids?
podcast. We review TV show pilots. Tell you if you should watch them or not. Help you decide. Sometimes they're spoilers. Sometimes they're not. They'll be time-stamped, though, if there is spoilers, which there will be this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Today we're talking about Future Man and Loki. We're going to start off with Future Man. But first, I'm Franny.
I'm Cody/CL.
My name is Logan.
My name is Logan.
Yeah.
Nice.
You should go check out the episode that comes out next week or 2 weeks
If
from
you're
now.
listening to this when it's posted, you should listen to next week's episode.
You should listen to 2 weeks from now's episode, August 2nd. August 2nd.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm
I know.
impressed.
This bitch
Crazy.
broke out a calendar.
I did. I knew it
She
off the
knows
top
her
of my
days of
head.
the week.
Sometimes.
Dan and a Y.
Gosh.
So yeah, Future Man and Loki.
We're going to start out with Future Man.
Nice.
Who wants to read the Wikipedia?
I mean, I will.
I think it's
okay.
Cody's job.
I know, but there was such a long pause. I was like,
I was waiting to see if you had anything
I
to
was
say
seeing
about
if you
Future
had
Man.
any-
No,
Usually you
every
say
single
something.
time I do that, you're like, let him read the. So I've learned that you have to let him read it first.
Yeah, but usually you say you can
I know, but that's what I'm telling you is that every single time I do that, you guys are like, wait, he hasn't read the week. I'm like, okay, I'll wait. And then I wait and you guys are like, what the fuck? Why didn't you say anything?
We're just used to you having a little thing. We missed it now.
We make us laugh. Dance, monkey, dance. What you're
Dance,
yelling at me
That's
right
a
now.
horrible song.
Oh, is it? I've never
It's
heard
a
it
Dance
before.
Monkey song.
Never heard it.
Anyway, so Future Man is an American comedy streaming television series created by Howard Overman, Kyle Hunter, and Ariel Schaffer that premiered in November of 2017 on Hulu as an original series. It follows an underachieving janitor who is called upon to save the world. It stars Josh Hutcherson, Elia Coop, Derek Wilson, and yeah, it has 3 seasons. It's about a video game. Yeah.
So, with Future Man, right? I love the thing with this show, obviously directed by Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg. You guys obviously know who those guys are. Seth Rogen, obviously. But more specifically, the team that created Superbad, which is one of the greatest comedies in, our modern era. So the cool part with this is they basically wanted to make a show about nerd culture, but in not like The Big Bang Theory is, where it's like, oh, we're gonna completely rip off of and basically suck the life out of nerd culture, whereas this almost felt like a backhanded reference to everything it was speaking on. It felt like it disgraced everything that it was talking about in a way where it was like, I know these things are real and I know people really feel this way about video games and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
we're making fun of you because we are you.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that part of it. The whole plot itself is basically The Last Starfighter meets Back to the Future. And we can talk about what specifically happens in the pilot, but I just always really enjoyed that about the show, is the fact that it's really, really smart comedy for really, really dumb subject, just absolutely ridiculously stupid plot points, stories, character elements. They basically were like, we're going to make the smartest dumb show ever that we can out of these pop culture references.
They did just that.
So who wants to go over what happened in the pilot?
I can.
Go for it.
So it centers around janitor Josh Futterman. What? Everybody's laughing. What's going on?
You smacked the microphone with your face.
Oh, I didn't even notice. That's funny.
You went, like with your face.
Sorry about that.
And like it wasn't so much the audio that made me laugh; it was the visual of it, like rolling
just
across
didn't
your face
respond
and
to
like
it.
no response. Like it literally slid across the lip, and like you didn't respond at all
Every
to
day
it.
at work, I run into stuff 24/7 and just continue going on like nothing happened. I'm just like that. I just be running into things, just going with it. It's fine. So Future Man centers around janitor Josh Futterman, played by Josh Hutcherson. So janitor Josh Futterman feels stuck in his dead-end job as he spends time playing.
I meant more like you.
I know.
Okay, go ahead.
I am.
Sorry.
So it centers around him. He feels stuck in his dead-end job. And his main escapism is his video game Biotic Wars. So he is playing his game and he keeps getting like stuck on this one part that he like
Level
just can't.
83.
Level 83. He cannot get past it. He talks about like the basically it's an unbeatable game too, and he talks about that with I guess they
run like a video game store.
Yeah, like a GameStop.
Aquafina and David Cross, right? Well, no, it wasn't David Cross. It was another bald guy who makes jokes.
I like Aquafina in this role. I always do. But yeah, he talks about like how he doesn't get why they wouldn't want to play a game that's unbeatable. Like it's challenging. And I think he kind of like doesn't feel challenged in his normal life. He works as a janitor at a lab that is entirely for trying to find a cure for herpes.
True.
And he's talking to Elias. I think his name is Elias. The guy that runs the lab, and he's talking about like how he's dedicated his life to finding a cure for herpes because he contracted herpes during the moon landing at a frat party. And he's talking about how he always tries different formulas because doing the same thing and expecting a different result is like insanity. And it's a quote. It's a famous fucking quote. Y'all know the quote. So he kind of takes that to heart. And when he's playing that video game on, I guess, break, but I think he's supposed to be working at this time. And
No. He plays on break, but that's not when he finishes.
Oh, it's not?
No,
okay.
he finishes it again when he plays it again at his house.
He finishes it at home. So
at work they make a whole joke about how he's pissing in a Gatorade bottle, and the security guard there's like, man, I made a big old dump in the bathroom.
Yeah.
That's kind of the joke.
Yeah, he has like his janitor closet he like pimped out with Biotic War stuff and everything. It's fucking ridiculous. So he goes home and he's playing the game, and that like quote is like just ringing in his head. So instead of going in guns a-blazing like he always does to level 83, instead he drops all of his weapons and tries to like just maneuver around things, and he ends up fucking beating it. And then chaos ensues.
Yeah,
the fucking characters come to life.
First he's all excited. He's like,
yeah,
I gotta go tell my mom and dad. And his mom and dad are like very
hippies.
much wanderlust hippies. Like we
Stoner
don't want you to leave. We love you so much. Very like overbearing parents. But not in the sense that they make him try hard or try to dictate what he does. More or less, they're overbearing because they let him do whatever he wants and love him unconditionally. Yep. Which is an issue. You can't do that.
Yeah, they pretty much are like, we don't understand why you want something more than what you're doing. You're working like a great job. Like they're very settled into their ways, and he doesn't want to be like them. Yeah, a little delusional, a little bit. For sure.
And he goes downstairs and be like, Mom, Dad, I won. And they left a note like, we're out exploring and going to the grocery store. And he's like, fuck. And then he realizes, like, didn't really matter that I accomplished this. Yeah. I'm done. I beat it and nobody cares. So he goes back up to his room to jerk one.
To the character.
The poster of Tiger. And then Tiger and Wolf come to life.
Yeah.
And then he comes on Wolf.
Yeah, so Tiger.
It's awesome.
Tiger and Wolf are in game, his like fighting companions, and like Tiger's supposed to be like this hot bitch they joked about a lot at the GameStop, like how people just play Biotic Wars, jack it to the characters and shit like that. And Wolf is like the hard edge like guy that he fights next to as well. Like that's his little team, and he is Future Man. That's his name in the game. So yeah, they come to life. He comes on Wolf.
Yeah. It's like, it's just a little cum. He's like, it's a lot of cum. I love that shit. The wolf character is one of the most underrated, funniest characters in the show.
Oh my God, that
as the
actor
show
kills
goes
it.
on, too, I won't give any spoilers, but he is just consistently the funniest person on screen. He's so fucking funny, and he doesn't even try. Like, at a later point when he's eating those pickles, he's like, these little green swords are amazing. Like, he's
I
like,
kept thinking the whole time, pickles are fucking gross. Like, this is
but like,
so unrelatable.
but compared to a rat, though,
I mean, probably.
I think that you'd love a pickle if all you ate was rats for like 2
Right.
years.
We'll see. I've never had grilled rat before, so I don't know.
You're like, hey, don't knock it till you try
I
it.
think it's so weird that he was like narrating his self-pleasure. He's like getting off to
Well,
like,
that's the meme too, because in the game, like all social norms in this future that they're from are like broken, and like they yell shit while they're fighting people too, just like in the game, like yeah, headshot, and it's like that's something they're actually doing. Because like all social norms are gone, people eat rats and fight bionics in the future, and that's all they do. They make that the game.
but it's still so weird because he's like literally like getting off in his kitten fantasy, and he's just like imagine your Carmen Electra poster in the early 2000s coming to life while you're jerking off, and you're like, yes, kitty. I don't know. I thought that.
Well,
was,
I think
was funny.
once he came, he was very terrified that they were in his room. He didn't.
Oh,
he didn't-
yes.
And then like they were like, we're going to 69. And then he's like, we're what? Like, hello?
And then he
He's
looks
gonna
at Wolf
watch?
and he's like, he's like, what's his role in this? He's like, I'm going to 69 too.
Yeah.
But they mean the year 1969.
Well, I'm also gonna. No, he says, I'm also gonna 69 with you. I gotta make sure you don't mess it up. I fucking love Wolf so much. He's so fucking funny.
The casting in this is so fucking good.
Yeah, like I also think the first part of the pilot's like a nice intro to what like the main character is, but the real strength of the pilot is the second half when they're there. I mean, they're so fucking funny, and when they made this point earlier in the film where it's like, well, anyway, we actually missed the main point of what happened. So basically, they come back to him and they go, "Hey, the future's fucked."
Yeah.
And
We're getting there. We're just milking it.
We sent a video game to the past, and whoever beat it, we knew to be like the soldier we needed. And he's like, no, like things are fucked up. Like in the past, a video game is something we use for escapism, but in like the future, that's something they use to like hone warriors.
Mm-hmm.
So they thought this dude was gonna be a warrior, but he's just a fucking worthless chud, like absolutely worthless. But yeah, so that's what they're back to do. He needs to save the future. And so anyway, so earlier in the movie or in the show, the dad's like, all of our family's generations have lived in this house. This is a Futterman house. And when they travel back in time, he sees his dad and stuff, and he's like, Daddy. And then he gets like his ass beat by his grandparents and his Uncle Johnny. And it's like legit a funny fucking...
Yeah. And this is before Wolf and Tiger know that he can't
He's a
fight.
total bitch.
Yeah, so they're both sitting back, and Tiger's like, no, like, let him handle it. Like, we finally get to see like the chosen one in action. This is gonna be great. And he just gets his fucking ass beat. It's so funny. And Wolf has to save him.
And Wolf's like, do you want your chosen one to be beaten to death by his family? By his Uncle Johnny or whatever? And she's like, okay. And so he runs over there and he starts whooping all their asses. And then when you sit and think about it, like, this is Josh's family. And he's like throwing them through the skylight and throwing them against the wall and punching children in the face.
I love that he
So
goes up
awesome.
to his dad and he's like, Daddy? Like, that's weird, dude.
It says daddy too.
He literally says daddy, and it's like...
And that's what I mean, where it's like they do deliberate things just to be extra funny. You know, they do extra little fucked up shit to be extra funny.
So cringe.
In like that cringe kind of way.
Yeah.
Okay, so by the end of the episode, they jump some bikers in 69 and everything, and then they take like their clothes. And then finally, there's a moment where Josh actually kind of proves that he might be the chosen one by being like, I know what we need to do, because the thing that caused the biotics was this one guy who he knows who's trying to fix herpes.
The factory
guy. He eventually finds the cure for all disease, and that's what bionics are.
Yeah.
And so they need to stop him from ever getting herpes that way he'll never work on the cure for herpes, and that's the premise of the pilot. And he goes, I know where he is. This is the night of the moon landing. That means he's at this college party. And they're like, you are the fucking chosen one because of that. And then they murder 2 police officers.
Just leave.
Because they have no moral boundaries at all. These people grew up eating rats. Like like this movie, it kind of like if people from the world of the Fallout game came to the real world, this is how they would respond.
Oh yeah, for sure. When they were like jumping the bikers for their clothes because they needed like period clothes, Tiger goes to like grab a skull trophy. And Josh has to like frantically stop her. And the best thing about the fighting in this show is the fact that they like do the little like kitschy narration.
Headshot right in the nuts.
Yeah. Yep.
I like that he was
That's
like,
what I call a tea party. Like shit like that.
he was like, murder is wrong. He's like, ugh, you're one of those.
He's like, oh, I can't work with this guy.
You do a great impression of him.
Do I do a
Logan.
good impression of Wolf?
Yeah.
It's a lot of cum. I like that's my favorite
great.
line. It's just a little cum. It's a lot of cum.
He's like, you
good point.
Cum on my leg, I guess. Is this going to be a thing?
Yeah. Are you gonna bring this up every time? Because if you need to come on my leg, just come on my leg. You know, he's also. I know that like people know him from this area, and like you know everybody's got their general opinions, but Josh Hutcherson kills it in the show.
Oh yeah, he plays
so fucking good.
He plays pathetic so fucking
He really
well.
does. It reminds me of, if you've ever seen The Disaster Artist, he plays Benny, and he's just like real pathetic.
Yeah.
And,
He
like,
definitely has like a character type. That he goes towards.
Yeah, like everybody knew like PETA peed weak, you know what I'm saying? Like they all knew that he was like a bit of a simp, and they cast him perfectly for Hunger Games as well. But his comedy chops are like top of the line. Like he's
funny.
He's super funny, and it's a really funny show. I mean, you know, I've met Zac Efron, and the magic was lost with me for Zac Efron. I know people in this area have their separate opinions on this Josh guy because he grew up around here. But
Our friend's mom
used to cut his hair.
You've gotten your hair cut by the same person who used to cut Josh Hutcherson's hair.
Yeah.
My mom used to do his banking.
Wow.
Yeah. I think she used to work as like a special, like she used to only take on like certain amount clients, I guess. I don't know. And basically his dad would come in all the time, and she'd be like, I don't think, like, it was before he got big, but like it was still so much money. She's like, that's more money than like the the bank has seen in a while. But I've heard super nice things about him, so I don't know.
Yeah, like
That's
Bridget Terabithia was probably like, oh shit, this bank was like, damn, this little girl dying in this movie really brought us in some money.
Right.
Sorry, spoilers for Bridget Terabithia. In case you didn't go to the 4th grade. What were we saying anyway?
You're just talking about Josh Hutcherson.
So,
and
have
the
you had any
casting.
Josh Hutcherson.
I think you guys know how me and Franny feel on the pilot because we've been pretty upfront. Cody, what did you think about the pilot?
I really liked it, and I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what you'd think of the show.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of things, and I think my opinion's going to be kind of similar to We Review My Name is Earl and Raising Hope a little bit later. That's in 2 weeks. But it was very similar where I was like, this feels like too on the nose for me to enjoy, so I'm probably not going to like it. But I actually did really like it. I totally agree with you with the fact that I don't feel like it really picked up until that second half, because I was super worried that that whole show was going to be Emily Osment with the neck beard yelling at him the whole time.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, no, like I definitely.
Oh, Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah,
Which also
Emily Osment is what you said. I don't know.
Well, no, I meant Haley.
It looks,
I meant Emily.
For the record, too. No, go ahead.
My first note is I don't like Haley Joel Osment ever.
Oh, fuck you. He's great and stuff. Sixth Sense, Tusk.
I like him as a baby. I fucking hate Tusk, and I fucking hate his character in Tusk, and I hate his face, and I hate him in this.
He's such a nice guy.
I just always don't like him.
I just call him Emily Osment always.
Emily
I don't know
Osment.
why.
That's funny.
And he voices Sora in Kingdom Hearts, you know?
Does he?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't know.
Him and Jesse McCartney have spent a lot of times in the booth together, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Lucky him.
Who turned out better?
Ooh.
Haley's more famous. Anyway, and the thing with the show too is like the first season, I won't get into spoilers about the first season, but I've seen it, and in my opinion, it's a great season. And but then we tried to watch the second season, and I'm not going to get into details about that, but it just doesn't. It doesn't. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe it'll pick. Maybe if we gave it another shot, but it didn't for us. We were like, we're out. But the first season was so good that we were anticipating the second one, and we saw it the day it dropped. That's how good the first season was.
Like the next episode is literally called Herpy Fully Loaded. Like,
That's amazing.
like tell me that's not a hook, you
That's
know?
amazing. I love that.
Oh my God. So Haley Joel Osment kind of plays like an asshole that works at like this facility for curing herpes. And the like head of it, the head scientist,
What's his name? He was on Community.
yeah, I let's look it up. But he was kind of like putting him in his place, like telling because he was being an asshole to Josh and like basically saying like, oh, you're just a fucking janitor, like you're just here to clean our mess. And he's like, he doesn't fucking work for you, like he works for me. It's Keith David. He plays Dr. Elias.
He's very famous.
Yeah.
He's been in a lot of stuff.
He does a lot of voiceover too, I think.
Yeah, he does a lot of voiceover.
Yeah.
But basically like he tells him like sorry, he's an asshole, and then he says, but goddamn it, he knows his way around a herpes culture.
That's true.
The fucking dialogue is so fucking good. And then Josh is talking about like they're like talking, and like Dr. Elias is like going through like, you know, like why he dedicated his life to finding a cure for herpes. And Josh is like, oh, like you pull off having it on your lip, like, and he says, keep your friends close but your enemies on your lip.
And then he goes, can I use that for my speech tonight at the blah, blah, blah? And
it's so
yours,
fucking
bro.
quippy. Yeah. And I feel like they entirely lose that in season 2.
And also in the show, it is dumb dialogue, but it's delivered in such like an upswing, kitschy way. And then the things that are perceived are dumb sometimes are random. So someone will say something really stupid and everyone will take that statement very seriously. And other times someone will say something nearly practical and everybody takes like, what are you, a fucking moron? And I kind of love that. I love that style of humor in this show because it's already so wacky. Like there's nothing you can fault them for with how ridiculous they get because they already started with this plot.
Yeah.
Like, what do you're not going to expect The Godfather at this point. They're going to go wild because they started wild.
Herpy fully loaded.
I really love the scene where he's in the video game shop and they're talking about like what video game character you would fuck. And Awkwafina's like, I would fuck Luigi because I like that Italian dick. And the whole time I was thinking, Waluigi has so much more game than Luigi does.
But did you remember she said Luigi's whole dick is hairy?
Yes. And it made me think there's this artist, her name's Bailey J, and she does like these like sexy renderings of like characters. So there's like a sexy Waluigi. She did like Shrek, and it's just it's terrifying.
Franny, look up. He's showing you the picture.
Oh my God, that's funny. I was Googling it actually. That's so funny.
And I was just thinking the whole time, I was like, if you're gonna pick any of those brothers, like Waluigi's the one you pick, dude.
Yeah.
Waluigi's no one's brother.
Oh. I'm sorry, I'm not deep on Mario lore, but still.
Yeah, I mean, you only worked at every place that you should be, whatever.
I never worked at a video game store.
You only worked at a pop culture store and a comic book store.
I worked at a comic book store.
And a pop culture store as well.
Apparently not Louisville. But anyway.
That's not what I meant, though. It's because you work at...
Oh, that's true.
You worked
I don't think we sold a single thing that was like Mario.
That's insane to me.
Yeah, we had Donkey Kong.
That's Nintendo. That's good enough.
Yeah. I was going to say, we had like general... like Nintendo, PlayStation. We had Legend of Zelda. We had no Mario stuff.
Weird.
Nothing.
It's a younger or an older thing. You're either a Disney adult or a Disney kid. It's the same thing with Mario. You're either a Mario adult or you're a Mario kid. There's no like person in their 20s who's like so down with Mario they're putting on their overalls tonight. You know what I mean?
I mean.
Oh goodness. Is there a video game character you'd slam?
Oh, that's a tough one. Come back to me on that. That's a good question, Franny.
Yeah, Fran.
I mean, you got me convinced on Waluigi now.
Stop.
I was like, oh, okay.
No.
What about you?
No.
I mean, it's on like Donkey Kong. No, I'm just kidding.
I remember in the mid 2000s when everybody was getting on the internet and I was on District Lines a lot. What up, District Lines? Before YouTube, there was an animation of Samus and Master Chief, who actually ends up being a chick in this animation, and they do lesbian shit. And I always thought that was tight.
Ridiculous.
There's an episode
because I was 10.
There's an episode of The Guild, and they're at like a cosplay convention, and there's two Master Chiefs there, and they take off their helmets, and they're actually chicks.
Yeah, that was like a running theory. I don't know if that's still a theory or not, but a lot of people thought Master Chief was a chick. But Samus is a chick, like definitively, and she's hot as fuck, so probably Samus.
I'd pick Zelda.
She'd be so like uppity though, dude.
Sorry.
Speaking of video
You wouldn't
games.
actually get the slammer. She'd be like, all right, tell me I'm beautiful for 24
But
hours.
it's all about the chase.
Oh, God.
That's what it's about.
Don't chase anyone.
It's only
Okay.
in your fucking cane. You and your fucking cane just chasing somebody down the road.
For the record, Cody does not have a cane right now, but
But I want to get him one because I think he'd look hot with it.
She wants to make me a pimp. Anyway.
I dressed as a pimp for Halloween once, and it was ill. It went well, and it didn't go great.
At least you're a little kid.
I was in the hood.
Yeah.
As they say. And the issue was I was using my brother's costume stuff from the year before. And I had bought some fake jewelry and it said Pimpadelic on it. And I was wearing like a big fuzzy purple hat and a cane.
Ridiculous.
I had a feeling it was purple. I don't know why.
Because that's the pimp color.
Yeah.
Um,
Or all white.
or all white or like an eggshell. You know what I mean?
Ooh, yeah.
A cream.
Nice cream.
Yeah.
Like a canary.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it. And yeah, I definitely had things thrown at me. My first Halloween trick-or-treating as well.
God.
It's amazing.
So to bring it back on track a little bit, speaking of video games, one thing I love about this show is when they shoot it from the perspective, like early on in the first half of the pilot, when they're shooting Josh playing the video games and they shoot it from the computer.
That's cool.
I
like
thought that was
too.
really fucking cool and dynamic.
That whole opening scene is really cool too.
Yeah.
I thought the controller breaking was kind of lame because it just gave him a reason to talk to other nerds.
Yeah.
But other than that, the dream sequence scene at the beginning is kind of funny. I don't know if
I liked it.
There's parts of it that I thought was like, oh, this is a really kitsch, like niche joke you're starting on.
That's why I like
Yeah.
it.
Let's see if it works out. And it did work out.
So
I think.
basically, like the opening scene of the show is Josh fighting like a bunch of people and like saving some lives and stuff, and like it's very like feels like a video game because it fucking is. It's his dream that he's like in biotic wars.
Do you want to get to spoilers?
Yeah, we can get to spoilers. We should rate the pilot first, though.
Okay,
True.
I would say, based on the pilot, I would watch the show, and I did watch the show at least through the first season. I would give the pilot, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Solid.
I think for
Yeah.
me it's a 7 out of 10, and it's just because I think the first half is its premise is kind of weak, and then the second half is like so strong that it kind of pulls me back in. And I think that's what made me continue watching.
And I was going to give it a 7 for that same exact reason. I was really nervous that first half was the entire show, and then it got really great. So, yeah.
It does not warn you. Like,
It
if you
does
didn't
not.
watch the trailers, there's nothing that tells you that it's actually going to happen for
Yeah.
him.
Wow.
Which I liked. I liked that a lot.
I'm shocked that I liked this the most out of everybody.
I'm not.
Wow.
You always lean comedy on stuff. Or
Yeah,
like
I do.
anything like feel good, not too serious, you kind of lean towards.
Yeah.
Which is why
I
we
will
love
say
you.
this one thing for all of our Crosscut Cinema fans out there. The parents, when they were like out to get snacks and explore, that reminded me of Madison and Bridget.
They are, yeah. Madison and Bridget are the like
They're
hippie
just, like, stoner
wandering
parents.
minds
Yeah.
parents. Like that's exactly.
you shouldn't
leave.
You can be anything you want to be.
You can be everything you want to be if you just never leave us. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but they're totally like the free.
They're
spirit.
the
They remind
free
me
spirit
of
dorky parents.
How
for
they'll
sure.
be one day as parents.
They're gonna be like the most like we're
Out
gonna
to
be
get
the really
snacks
cool
and
aunt and uncles
explore.
because they're gonna like their kids will love them, but they'll be like our parents are so square and we'll be like the cool like aunt and uncle.
Yeah.
Who would you guys be if they're the parents?
Oh, you mean in the show?
Mhm.
Who would we be? I think I'm Wolf because I can do his voice.
God,
I'm Josh. I'm pretty sure.
I see it.
Oh, wow.
I'm
okay,
kidding.
pathetic simp. Ouch. Called me out.
With a true purpose that he just hasn't found yet.
Without true purpose.
No, with.
I heard without.
I don't think I'm represented here.
No,
No.
totally not.
Yeah, I'd say I'm not. I'm not in the show.
I'd say maybe Aquafina because you would say something weird like, I want that hairy dick. But
I don't know the fucking. I don't know the
I
culture.
know you don't, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Well,
that feels like
here's
something
what's
you'd
so
say.
unfair about
It's
you,
funny
Franny.
that I love this show, but like I'm definitely not represented in it.
You know what? You really you reject the culture that you so much would love if you just gave it a chance.
I agree.
Pretty much all the time.
Who's got the time?
It's just like she wholly reject things that she always grows to love, like Dungeons and Dragons, for instance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like that.
Yeah, like every single time I'm like, I'm gonna introduce or Magic the Gathering. I'm gonna introduce to
I
this
do be
nerdy
liking
thing.
that. I think it's because I don't like why I haven't like fully like jumped into like video games and stuff like that is I don't have like the nostalgia thing that you guys have with it. So I didn't do that kind of shit.
You just need to play something really good that you're into. And for the record, you did play Animal Crossing a lot.
I did fuck with Animal Crossing.
That is a video
game, and it was a moment in history.
And it's I think it should have won Game of the Year. It didn't, but it absolutely deserved to win Game of the Year. I think it was.
Yeah,
was
my
it
island.
Last of Us?
My
I don't
island
think
is
it was Last of Us.
probably.
I think it was something different. I think it was something way dumber than that. I can't remember.
My island is probably a hot mess. I haven't been on there.
But the fact is, you played for like 3 months straight, and the game's not meant to be played forever. I mean, it's designed that way, but nobody ever plays a game forever.
Yeah.
So I think that you just need to find games that you want to play. Not every video game is just a shoot 'em up. Like,
yep.
There's all sorts of games. There's like cultivating games. Fucking Farmville's a game.
Maybe.
Dating sims.
Dating sims.
Oh my god, we have.
Oh yeah. You have Dream Daddy.
Yeah, I have Dream Daddy
on PlayStation.
Oh, I got Sims.
Oh, nice.
The Xbox One. And I can't get past making a sim. I don't know how. So I'm a little stuck.
Okay, but to be
That's
fair,
the best thing I've
to
ever
be fair
heard.
to Franny though, this is the game where they updated it to where it's all browser feature. So if you're not used to using like a browser for a controller, like if you're not used to like having a search bar on screen and treating your joystick like a mouse, it is a little harder to use. So I think that's fair.
And Bridget, who is an avid Sims player, was supposed to help me with it, but she was a little too in the Matrix at the moment and didn't. So Bridget, calling you out, please help me build a sim. Or anybody in the comments, if you guys want to tell me how to build a sim, hit me up.
So spoiler talk.
Starting
now. You were saying that season 2 is just not.
So
not
with season 1, there's so much more to like what happens. Like things kind of go the way they want them to. Well, I just want to talk about some character development stuff first. So Wolf, you saw in the first episode, his obsession with pickles and real food. He gets stuck in a timeline. Without them, they get separated, and he becomes an underground sous chef in the 80s.
For a second, I thought you meant without pickles, and I was like, "Why?" Is
No, without the rest of the team, he gets
it.
stuck in a point in time, and he becomes an underground sous chef, and then like an ultimate like chef after that guy dies, and like he's like all in the rage. Everybody wants to go in the sewer and eat his rats, and it's awesome. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
And then at another point, Wolf has a huge dick, right? Mm-hmm. But because of a way they like jumped through like the time pad stuff, whatever it was called, they were a little mixed up, and him and Josh switch penises, and then you see Josh has like this huge dick, and the whole time like this Wolf is like all sad because he has this like baby dick. And that's like the joke for the rest of the show is he has this tiny dick that people laugh at, and it's originally Josh's dick.
That's amazing.
It's
so good.
Great.
That's amazing.
Like you get whole shots where like Josh is like standing somewhere with no pants on, and he has a dick that like goes past his knees. It's crazy. It's a really fucking funny show. There's a lot of like clear references where they're almost doing a scene more so to activate the reference, less to continue on the story. But it's all so entertaining. It's that first season. I don't remember exactly how the first season ended, but I remember like they essentially accomplished their goal, but not really. Like they changed things, but it didn't actually change the fact that the future was fucked.
Yeah, the future just gets fucked in a different way.
Yeah. And that's where you start season 2, and it's just like everything from it's gone. Like
Whoa.
all the humor is just like left out. I don't know what happened.
There's 3 seasons now.
Yeah, I know. The third season only has 8 episodes. Apparently it was just to wrap it up.
Interesting.
Wow.
Did it change like hands at all, or?
I think they just had they had an agreement after the first season was shot to do 2 more seasons. I think that's more what it was. And this is technically a Disney special because they own Hulu. That's all I'm saying, you know?
Yeah.
This is also a Disney original show, so.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Franny,
what are you looking at?
I was looking at the episode guide, just trying to just jogging my memory about it a little bit.
She was looking at Josh Hutcherson's hog.
Been right.
Yeah, we watched this around when it came out in like 2017 or whatever.
Yeah,
it was.
it's just been so long, and like I feel like I forgot more about it, but watching the pilot jogged a lot. And I really did like the first season. I was really upset.
We were hype about the second season.
I know, we were so upset.
We
about
watched
that second
it
season.
because we knew that it was coming out like.
Did we watch the
next
full
year.
season?
Of the second season?
Yeah, or
the
did we
first?
give up second?
We watched like 2 episodes.
Yeah,
it was
gave the fuck
legit
up. It was,
that bad.
It was garbage.
Yeah.
It was not good. Like there's like a whole scene where like he's in the desert and like he pees to drink the pee. And then like the next shot you see like people walking by with like gallons of water. That's like the only joke that stood out to me, and I don't find it particularly funny.
Like I would say like I almost want to retract saying that this is a good show to watch.
No, I think the first season's really good and you should watch it. And it's also very conclusive. Like if they didn't get another show, that you could have gone with the conclusion that they came to. It just wasn't exactly what you wanted.
Yeah, it just wasn't like the final,
it did end. It was an end. That's why the second season was kind of jarring.
Right. I really don't like that they squeezed 2 more seasons out of it.
Well, I don't know if it was that they squeezed 2 seasons out of it. I feel like it was just like the second season was bad and it was a contractual thing to do the third season. Or maybe so many people were still fans even of the second season. Like maybe we're the minority and people like the second season. And they just squeezed out a third 8 episodes. Maybe they like needed to wrap it up for the fans. I don't really know the circumstance. But I will say that like I really liked the first season and I couldn't even get into the second season. And we were looking forward to it. It wasn't something we were watching passively. We waited for its release.
Yeah, like we were hype. Cody, did you watch further than the first episode?
I've only watched the first episode, but
Wow.
now I'm a little sad because I'm like, do I want to continue?
I think you can finish the first season and it's still definitively like a story of its own. Okay. And it's good. And it has twists. Like it's not predictable, really. It's got its own thing.
Okay.
So I think it's worth it to watch the first season, and then honestly, try the second season if you're out there listening and you're on the fence. And if I'm wrong, or if you like it, that's great. Like that's exactly what I want to hear. If you can find enjoyment out of media that exists, even if I disagree with it, that's totally fine.
For sure. We aren't the gods of media.
No, like for all I know, like this is like the second season's considered the best, and I'm just a moron who didn't get it. It's totally possible.
I don't know about that. I can't see that being.
Did I like it? Fuck no.
Yeah, I didn't fucking like it either. But I mean, the first one is good. I think the characters of like where they go with them when they like kind of make them more like modern is really fun, and what they do with it, like what you're saying when he becomes a chef and everything. Like I like all that stuff. I don't like when it's too like in the fucking war and shit. So
not just that, but I think the moments that they're taking themselves the least seriously are the best moments of the show.
Yeah, when it's just like more fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's all we really have to say about that one.
Well, who would you slam?
Oh God, I mean, I think I would fuck Tiger. Obviously, considering she's the only like female that's available other than Awkwafina, and that's intimidating.
And she's barely there. I think
was gonna say
that character
Awkwafina is the only answer, but anyway,
she's just too intimidating for me. You know.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, she's more intimidating than Tiger in a lot of ways.
Whoa.
Oh
just Awkwafina as a person in general.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd definitely slam her. I'd kill old Joshy boy.
Yeah, mercy.
And then I would probably marry, I guess, probably the herpy guy, because he's so rich, but also if I tell him he can't like touch me or kiss me or anything, like he'll respect that because he has herpes.
Ooh,
but then I can be rich.
There you go.
Interesting. Interesting.
Well, if we ever run into that situation, Logan's got it right on top.
Right?
Yeah.
He's got that figured out tip top.
He's got it planned.
There you go. What about you?
I would slam Awkwafina.
Yeah.
I would marry Wolf now that I have the information that he can cook.
Not just that, but like tries to live a normal 80s lifestyle, has like an 80s apartment, like lives like a normal person during that whole time period.
And has a huge schlong.
Yeah. Well, not anymore. I think they had switched at that point.
Well, I'll love him for him. And then I would kill Josh Hutcherson. Yeah. The end.
I think we're all going to kill Josh because I'm also going to kill Josh.
It's not really anything wrong with the characters, just the character's designed to be kind of annoying.
Yeah. I would also fuck Wolf. I wouldn't marry him. I'd fuck him. Whoa, Logan looked shook by that
Just
one.
seemed like a little too much excitement.
I hope so.
I'd probably marry Tiger. I feel like she could take care of things in our
she'd
life for
protect
us.
you.
Yeah, for sure.
She'd bring the bread home.
Yeah.
I think so.
I could just be her trophy wife, even though
Cute.
she's more of a trophy.
You know, it's talked about later in the show, but when Wolf and Tiger knew they were about to go into battle, in order to work up their juices, they'd have sex with each other.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they like offer it to Josh at one point before a fight, and he's like so freaked out by the whole thing, and they're like, "Come on, you're just trying to like release some tension." And he's like, "This is fucked up and weird."
Like both of them are like, we'll have a threesome. Or
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
sick. I wish
It's
it was
just like-
2100. I'm just kidding.
Right? It's just like part of their culture.
Yeah, just like we got to get this stuff out of the way. This is purely practical. And then they have like
Fucking weird.
aggressive sex. It's really scary.
I feel like I'd be tired. I feel like I wouldn't want a battle.
But it's the night before.
I feel like I'd be tired. I wouldn't want a battle.
All right, guys. We're going to take a quick break and come back with Loki.
Hey, looking for more content? Check out Crosscut Cinema, where me, Franny, and my friends review movies. Or check out a pilot podcast where we review TV pilots with recording artist CL Blue. Or hey, check out me hanging out with my friends on Average Joe Interviews. Socials and links are in the bio. Thanks, guys.
Hey guys, it's CL. I have an EP out now called Temple. It's a collection of songs I wrote when I was 18, and it's available on all streaming platforms, wherever you get your music.
So baby, look into my eyes. My body's a temple.
And we're back.
Yeah, we are.
Hi, welcome back.
I definitely took a deep breath in at the beginning, but that's fine. You viewers love to hear me breathe.
We're going to talk about Loki, right?
Just go ahead and read. Like whatever interesting thing I have to say is going to be chopped for us. So let's just go ahead and read.
No,
them.
what were you going to say?
Read the thing.
No, I want to
read the-
hear
no.
talk about breaths.
Go ahead, read the thing.
Loki is an American television series created by Michael Waldron for the streaming service Disney Plus, based on Marvel Comics, featuring characters of the same name. It's set in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It shares continuity with the films of the franchise and takes place after the events of Avengers Endgame, in which an alternate version of Loki creates a new timeline. And I made sure that it didn't have any other spoiler stuff besides that. So yeah, 6 episodes.
So
Disney
spoilers.
Plus.
So we're gonna do the first episode review with nothing but spoiling what happens in that episode. But I recommend if you want to watch it, just watch the whole thing. It's only 6
Yeah.
episodes. It just feels like a longer Marvel movie when you binge it all together. I think that you can do it that way. But we're gonna get into the review of it now. So let's start off with the pilot. So you got Loki, who gets away with the, what do they call it again?
Tesseract.
Tesseract.
Mm-hmm.
God, that feels so like 2010s. But anyway,
Because it was.
it was like 9 years, like 9 years ago was when that movie was.
2012.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but it's crazy that he looks about the same, isn't it?
He looks great.
He looks good, man.
You know,
He
I used
looks
to
about
not
the
find
same.
him attractive, and he's aged well. He's aged like fine wine, baby. He is hot now.
There's a scene in the pilot where they evaporate his clothes off, and I was like, I see what you did here.
Yup,
makes
yup.
sense.
That hooked me. I looked at Logan and I
knew.
was like, I get it now. He was like, what do you get? I was like, nothing.
I see what Taylor Swift saw. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, they dated?
Yeah.
Wow. Who hasn't she? Anyways.
A lot of people.
Whoa!
Damn.
Whoa!
A
Whoa!
lot of people.
I'm joking.
Damn.
Whoa!
Wow,
What are you,
is Franny
Twitter?
not a feminist?
What are you, Twitter?
Are you on the cast of Ginny and Georgia?
Dude, oh my God. What are you on
Right.
Twitter? Anyway.
Right? Barely.
Okay.
Anyway, so really random dig at Taylor Swift for no reason too. Boy,
Just for the mega fan.
she's
in here.
done a fuck. Isn't that crazy?
Wow, she's had relations. Ooh.
How dare she?
I think
Ridiculous.
less of her. No.
Nobody. Why doesn't anybody talk about Ray J like that? That dude's an actual fucking animal. Anyway, not the point. So we're moving on. Okay, so in the pilot, you come to find out that like he's got this Tesseract and shit. He's gone to like some random desert part of the planet, and then these people show up They instantly like fuck him up. Remember when they put like the time slower thing on him and hit him?
And like you see his lips like flubbering around.
That was a trailer moment. There's a lot of things in this pilot that I don't really think contribute to the show that they made just for the trailer. And when I think of one that's like kind of egregious, I go with DB Cooper scene. That scene doesn't do anything for the pilot at all. It just like is a good trailer moment. Like putting the fact that he's actually DB Cooper, Loki.
Yeah, that
in
was
the
fucking
trailer,
funny.
But it's in the trailer is like it could be a big part of the story here because they keep saying it's a thriller, it's a mystery, but it was just for the trailer. I mean, the moment's dead as soon as it's alive. Like nobody brings it up again. It's not important, and I thought that was kind of lame, to be real. But sorry, and I think that the lip moving thing was in the trailer, but in this context, it actually looked really great and was kind of awesome.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
When he gets hit in the face and his lip like quivers and his face like goes blah, blah, blah.
And they put him on like a time thing. So
That was
in
in the trailer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Amongst other things. I was just bringing up the fact that there's some stuff in the trailer that's like so bad in the actual show in practice, but that was like a good trailer moment. Like the trailer for the show does not do it justice.
I agree.
It's not at all what the show is. But anyway, these people come, they're from the TVA. They shackle this bitch up. They take him back to the TVA. And then you get
What's the TVA stand for
the
again?
Time Variance Authority.
Okay, gotcha.
Say it with me, kids.
I just want to make sure. I
No, it's just funny. We said it in unison like it was like dare. Like it was felt like the little fish club for a
Time
moment.
Variance Authority. Hey, sorry, I'm late. Anyway,
Nice.
I was on a time loop. Sorry.
Yeah. No, he had one of those collars on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting into that. Anyway,
I have to go.
goodbye. I'm leaving. Let me grab my cane. So he shows up there, and they kind of do. If you are a Fallout fan, I know I brought that up earlier in this, but I really think it's very true in this. There's a lot of like stylized propaganda posters, and there's like this living like computer program, kind of like the Pip-Boy. Like it's very much like post-apocalyptic seeming in ways at first, where it's like this is what everything turns out to be. Like it's this weird like governed ship essentially. Like it's very Fallout-esque. And he's going through it, and of course it's Loki. He thinks that he's like this all-powerful being that's like so important in the universe. And the show instantly sets up like Loki's no one. Loki's trash. Like he is so out of his league with this interaction, where like they're scanning for his soul and they're telling
His
him
little aura thing was so cool.
Yeah.
I loved that.
That was cool. And like later in the first episode, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but the best part for me is when he finds a drawer filled with Infinity Stones. And like, oh yeah, guys use that as paperweights, which that is such a good choice.
That is.
Because that's the perfect moment where it's like, we're showing you how weak Loki is in this situation, but we're also showing you that the MCU is no longer going to focus on these stones. This part of the story is over. We're moving on now.
Yep.
That's like the first time definitively in any piece of the media from the MCU that goes, we're moving on. And I appreciated that about it because it was the perfect way to do it. Owen Wilson's fucking electric in this pilot.
So good.
What about his fucking press for it?
Oh my God. This is my first time in the Marvel universe. Have you seen that video?
No.
Okay, so Owen Wilson's a pretty busy guy. And they were trying to get like stuff from him promotionally for an interview, and he shows up in a cowboy outfit. And then his takes are so bad that when they push it all together, it sounds insane. Like he's like, this is my first time in the Marvel universe. Like, let me, you know what? Keep talking. I'm going to find the audio.
Yeah. I also just want to point out my favorite scene in this pilot.
Yes.
I know it's kind of early to talk about favorite scenes, but this one is just like playing on a loop in my head, and I just want to like watch it again. And it's when he's in line at the Time Variance Authority. He's been arrested and he's waiting like essentially his trial. And he's told to take a number. And he watches that like animated thing about time.
Yeah.
Fucking beautiful. I love that animated
It
thing
was
about
so
time.
cool.
Oh yeah, that propaganda like film.
Yes.
And then like you see like the
so cool.
like the 70s looking art of the timekeepers, and it looks really like it just feels very brainwashy and like kind of like futuristic and fucked up a lot, like I said, like with Fallout. But like that video in general, especially with Miss Minutes being played by Tara Strong, right?
I think so.
She's so good. Like she's Ben 10, she's Timmy Turner, she's a great voice actress, and like she does a really good job.
She was
being that
was
like
she Bubbles or Buttercup of the Powerpuff
she was
Girls?
Bubbles.
Yeah.
So she does like
that
this
was a
kind of
great
like
moment.
Southern mom voice for Miss Minutes, and it's like really like sweet, peachy, like. And then there's the Time Variance Authority, and it's really like, if you don't know a lot about voice work, this is like the perfect example of like voice work being pulled into a modern
Right.
medium.
And
she really elevates everything. I have that clip, by the way.
I appreciate that it real fast before we go back to that clip, because I'm excited for that clip.
Also same.
But I love that they put that scene in there because of the style of it, but also I feel like it really breaks it down for you and how everything's going to work without being fucking boring prologue. I hate boring, like, here's what we're gonna do, folks, type of, like, I hate when they treat the audience like they're fucking stupid.
Agreed.
But that was necessary. They needed to break it down,
And
because shit gets complicated.
And they did it in a way where it was like, it wasn't just an explanation, it was world building, because it gives you the idea of like the shit that the people are shown, the people that work for this organization, the shit that is quite possibly the strongest power in the universe, and it's being explained to you that it's just 3 random space lizards that are like the power, the natural power of the universe.
Yeah.
They're the ultimate.
Yep.
And it's such a funny way to build that story in, because it's happening in such a mundane way. He's basically standing in a DMV being told that this is the penultimate moment. These are the god amongst gods.
Yep.
He's learning that in a jumpsuit, standing in line, hoping to God that he didn't forget his number.
Yep. Amazing. So good. And I love that scene with the guy who's like, the guy he didn't give me a number, blah, 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 because he was,
he just gets pruned right there.
literally, so good.
Yeah, that's also, I think the guy who did that is, I could be wrong, but I think he's that one YouTube comedian with the beard. But, yeah, there's, it's odd how many, like, YouTubers are crossing over into, like, the MCU. Do you know Rhett was almost Taserface?
What?
Yeah, he was the second choice for Taserface.
Whoa.
Just a fun little bit for you. He talked about it on his podcast, Ear Biscuits. Anyway, here's Owen Wilson being ridiculous.
This is the first time for me in the Marvel Universe.
Oh, Cody couldn't hear it because no.
Do you want to pass him your headphones?
Yes.
We're just going to play it again.
We're going to play it again, baby.
Cody needs to hear what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because actually, he's the only one who hasn't heard this already.
That's very true.
Yeah, we got to get you headphones. Oh. Is that how we're going to do it? This is the decision?
Yep.
Okay. Here we go.
We got this.
This is the first time for me in the Marvel Universe.
Isn't that insane that they kept that for promotional use?
This is
and he's
the
wearing a
first time
fucking
for
cowboy
me.
outfit. He looks like he looks like his character from Night at the Museum. I'm not totally convinced they didn't just like steal promotional footage from that and like made it
Just
something.
like ADR over
Maybe it's
it.
an Easter egg. They're like, oh, he's coming back for nights number 3, 4.
I think
Number
it's 4.
37.
They already had Battle at the Smithsonian and some other one.
I used to fuck with those movies heavy, but anyways.
I remember Jonah Hill said that was the hardest. I heard an interview that he said that was the hardest day of him being an actor, because they had to reshoot so many times on the scene that he was in. He was just a night guard.
Oh.
He said something happened with like the electric, and like every other scene just looked wrong, so they just kept redoing it and redoing it. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent here. We're not here to review Night at the Museum. Literally, I'll never be here for that.
That's a different channel.
That's a promise. I'll never review Night at the Museum, Battle at the Smithsonian.
on a pilot podcast.
on a pilot podcast.
Anywhere. Unless you give us a bunch of money. There you go. You can make it happen. I can be bought.
So
Anyway.
next week's episode of Crosscut Cinema is all 3 Night of the Museum
Right.
movies. He's shaking
my
his head no.
goodness.
but
They're
no, he
so
meant
bad.
yes.
They're literally so bad. They're not even good kids movies. They're just bad. The Jonas Brothers playing those little cupids was kind of funny, though. I liked that. Anyway.
What?
The Jonas Brothers played the cupids in Night at the Museum, the little singing cupid things, the little angels.
I had no idea.
Yeah, they sang their own song. I think it was Love Bug.
That makes sense.
Anyway, we're moving on now. Franny, could you give some life, please? You seem to be a dead person over there.
No, I was just waiting
Okay,
to talk about
so-
Loki again.
Okay, so we're talking about the pilot, right?
Yeah.
We ended on him seeing all that footage and everything, and then he's basically brought into court,
Yeah.
and they're like ready to prune him. And Owen Wilson's like, "Hey, I could use this variant. I'm on a case," and like that's when the best stuff in the show happens, because the best things in the show are when they're just talking. Like those are the most captivating scenes, because the Loki character and the Mobius character, like Mobius, those characters really mesh well on screen.
Do you ship Lokius?
I mean, I don't know. I think if they said that Mobius was gay, I could see it.
Because they definitely
Because Loki is. They
tell you in the
spoiler
show.
guys, but they get
confirm
little.
some
They
things.
pander a little bit, but it's the right kind of pandering. They decided to use something from the comic books.
Finally.
there's people talking about on Twitter how they want because I guess in the comic books he has painted black nails sometimes, and they're saying how like they want them to bring back the painted black nails for season 2.
Yeah, they pretty much want Loki to be as androgynous as he was in the comics, which isn't that insane to me. That
Yeah.
seems like
I
something
think
totally
That's
reasonable.
very
Reasonable,
2021
yeah.
thing to do now too.
Well, I mean, if we're going to talk about like screen accuracy all the time, why not make him as androgynous as he was in the comics now that they've found a way to bring him back into the medium? Now they've found a way to keep the character relevant, even though he died in Endgame.
Which is great because he's one of my favorite characters, so I'm very happy with this.
Yeah. So the pilot goes on. He's like, I need you to help me track down this variant, blah, 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 this, blah, blah, that. Is there anything else we want to say before we give away the big reveal at the end of this pilot? Because I'll say this much first. Loki sees his whole life played out,
Yeah.
and it makes him decide, like, whatever, like, I want to be kept alive. I don't want to lose this existence, and I don't want to do that. And so he's like, I'm going to, basically his goal at this point is like meet the TVA, either destroy them or make them reconsider my point in life.
Because he basically figures out that like he's gonna cause his mom's death,
And he's gonna. Thankfully, he does like the fact that he connects with Thor, and you see that on the screen. But he does die defending Thor, and I think when his neck gets snapped by Thanos, no matter how valiant and heroic he felt in the moment, you're probably gonna be like, no, ew.
yeah.
How fucking weird is that? That like, imagine being sent somewhere, you have no idea what's going on, and someone plays you your fucking death scene. Like that would be terrifying. There's a lot of things like this through the show where I'm like, I don't know what I would do if I was Loki. I don't think I'd be able to cope. There's a lot of depressive and just like high anxiety shit in this.
Definitely.
I
So
feel like they handle it well though. I like the way they like actually have him have like emotional moments and everything. It's a good like subtle way to have character growth.
So we find out. Are we good for the surprise ending
go
of the
right
first
in.
episode? Spoilers, altogether spoilers. But in this episode, we find out the variant that through the whole episode, you see Owen Wilson's character hunting. You know, he's finding like futuristic gum in like a situation where like there's about to be like a tornado in a town, and there's this kid in like a chapel with futuristic gum. Like there's tons of stuff where he's seeing remnants of somebody else from the future, and he's hunting this variant. And then at the end of the episode, you find out that the variant that Loki and Mobius are hunting is a different Loki.
Yep.
And that's how the episode ends.
So good.
Seeing this other Loki, not specifically in figure, but you see a shrouded figure killing, just no problems at all, killing TVA agents and stealing their temp pads.
Yep.
I like how when they reveal that it's a Loki, they say a Loki, and like Lokis are like basically a time anomaly. They're always pretty much a variant.
Yeah, we learned in the second episode that there's like tons
like
of them.
you learn that right away in the second episode. I think that's so cool.
So speaking of the second episode,
Well, wait, first we got to rate it because we just want this pilot rated and then we're going to
that's
go into
true,
spoilers.
yeah.
Okay, so I learned that this is something we should have done with Invincible, but that's too late, so we're doing it now.
I started our spoiler timestamp early though, so nobody gets spoiled for the big
reveal.
reveal unless they want to get spoiled for the big reveal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's give our quick review of the pilot alone, and you know all that good stuff. So for me, the pilot is actually really good. I think it's like an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
I think that Owen Wilson is the best part of the whole show on the pilot. I think he's even better than Loki. I think he's just like brilliant in the show and like so charming. And I also think that Tara Strong's Miss Minutes is like really fucking enjoyable and like a great addition to the world of Marvel itself.
Yeah. I'm going to give this like an 8.5 because I do think the pilot is super solid. I can't say the rest for some things, but we'll get to it. But this is a great pilot, and I completely agree that Owen Wilson is not someone I ever expected that I'd want in the Marvel universe, but like he fits so well and his character works so well, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah, he's great in this for sure. Like totally brings it up to a level that I forgot that Owen Wilson could do.
So great.
Yeah, I really like Owen Wilson in it too. He's definitely a highlight. I ship Lokius. Or at least I like that that's a thing, and I like that people are shipping it. I am excited to see where it goes. I haven't watched, spoiler alert, I haven't watched as far as these two.
Once we review Lamentus, we're going to do 4, 5, and 6. And then that's, 4, 5, 6. And then that's when Franny's going to like take off and like not be in the room while we.
Yeah.
Because she only watched the first 3 episodes.
Yeah. The pilot was really strong. I liked the pilot. I would give the pilot a 9. The thing is, though, as you'll find out, the reason why I didn't continue on is there are some pacing issues, at least for me, coming up. But the pilot is really good. The pilot got me wanting more.
Who are you fucking?
Loki. No. Hold on. I think I'm going to fuck Loki. I'm going to marry Owen Wilson. I'm going to kill
Mobius.
I'm going to kill I think I'm going to kill the variant. 'Cause she's the issue. You know? Sylvie.
I feel like, okay, I mean, I guess we're kind of going to say that now, but
that's
all right.
just going to kind of.
Well, at least there was a spoiler warning before.
Yeah.
There
was. I already put the spoiler timestamp because I knew the second we said the variant thing,
well,
the
then
spoilers would start flying.
I gotta figure that in my score then, I think. Does that mean that I can give whoever, or should I still wait till they're talked about?
Okay, I'll just do it for my first episode. So, okay, I can't kill Sylvie.
No, you can't. Sure, we already know she exists now. It doesn't matter.
Okay, cool.
I would probably, I'd fuck. I mean, absolutely fuck. Sylvie, 100%, 1000%.
That's why I'm going to kill her.
She said herself she's crazy, but she's in and out. She's not going to stick around for more than 5 minutes, and I'm probably going to die afterward anyway because she's there.
Probably.
And I would say I'd marry probably like the leader of like not the leader, but the lady who's like the main bitch at the TVA, like the one who gives out the assignments, because she seems important.
The judge, or are you talking about the one like
Judge Reinslater or whatever?
Yeah, something like that.
Probably gonna marry her, and then I definitely would kill that annoying guy at the front desk. The one who's like, "You're gonna turn me into a fish?"
He's like, "What's a fish?"
I'm gonna get you like a fish. He's like, "What's a fish?" He's like,
"You don't know what a fish is?"
And he's like, "The guy said he was gonna turn me into a fish. I don't know."
I would probably slam Loki because I don't trust him. So he's only good for once. I would marry Mobius because I feel like he would never give me up. He's never going to let me down. He's never going to run around and desert me. And I'm going to kill Sylvie because she cray. So the reason you want to slam her is the reason I would murder her.
Yeah. Yeah, some people aren't into crazy, but that's kind of my thing.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, Franny.
I'll work on it.
I'm sorry what that says about you, but it's the truth. Anyway, episode 2. All right, so episode 2 starts, and this is when Loki's finally joining the team. They give him a variant jacket to like kind of like demean him, but funny. Overall he's like he's Mr. Magnum PI now. He's like a cop himself. Mm-hmm. And they take him to what we initially think is going to be a Renaissance time period, but it turns out to just be a Renaissance fair. In 1985.
I love the bitch who's like, Some of us need this.
Some people need this, and I was like, that's Cody. Like, if we do a part where like which character are we, I'm like, that's Cody.
Yeah, probably.
Some people need this, you know. Why are you guys dressed like that?
I find it very concerning that I know that they're going in to kind of erase these timelines, but it's like, well, what if you don't know? Like, what if there's actually no variation there? Like, and you're just going in like, oh, I saw a weird.
No,
thing
because the thing
happening.
is, once there's a slight blip, they have to go fix whatever it is.
Yeah, and I got that later on, but I
Yeah.
remember as I was watching this, I was like, why are they not like being stealth about this? Like, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah, I know. It is weird because they act like they're going to be like these big stealth agents who like know everything that's going on, and they kind of just bumble around.
Yep.
Like the TVA itself, as you watch the show more, you just see their incompetence levels just rising. But anyway, there's clearly a tempad stolen and like a bunch of variants officers killed, and then Loki and Mobius go with their group to like check on it. And Loki instantly is trying to fuck with them and like like basically trick them and pulling his bullshit. And they're like, yeah, whatever, you're full of shit. Like right away, they just know. They're like, if you really want to help, why don't you not try to be so full of shit?
Yeah.
And that's finally when Loki is challenged by Mobius, and he's like, listen, you're just mad because you're not as smart as this Loki. And then that's the moment where Loki's like, you know what? Fuck that. And he's like, I'm going to be the smartest one and figure it out. And then that's when he figured out that Nexus events where there's about to be an apocalypse, that you cannot trace them on a variant like board watcher because there's so much crazy shit that happens, there can't be any variation to it. So like when he goes to Pompeii and he's like, all these people are about to die, it's like, well, doesn't really matter if I tell everybody they're about to die because no matter what happens, they're not making it past this field of people who are all going to die. So when he realized that all the Nexus events is where this other Loki hides, that's the moment where it's like Mobius is like, this is my fucking boy right here. And they start making out and slapping each other's cheeks and shit. And it's crazy. No, but
See,
that's
I
what
like
the fans
how-
think though.
I like how they make it make sense though, because like I can follow that logic, you know?
Yeah, because here's the thing too. The show gave itself a lot of issues with one thing. A lot of people watching this are thinking this is the Loki that was lost in Endgame, but it's not.
No.
This is the bloodthirsty Loki from 2012 who was like basically telling Black Widow, shove it up your pussy. Like he was like crazy then. You remember that when he was like, you can basically go fuck yourself with the blah, blah. Like that's the same Loki.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed. So for us to have this dramatic of a jump, there needs to be a reason. And I think they gave a believable reason in the sense where it's like it's your own pride and you're facing your own apocalypse and death. Like if you don't figure this out, we're going to prune you and you're going to be gone forever. And it's because there's literally a Loki better than you.
It's immediately after he fucking betrays everyone in the Battle of New York. Like this is the one who literally was about to sacrifice the whole planet so he could use it. So
yeah, like this is the evilest Loki is in the whole series.
I'd agree with that.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Because where it picks up from is him getting that Tesseract at a time where he was trying to kill the whole planet.
Yep. I also find their definition of apocalypse very interesting. These Nexus events where like when I think of apocalypse, I think of like something world ending, but they're like categorizing it as like, oh, well, this one town in Georgia got wiped off by a hurricane. That's considered
It's like a
apocalypse
communal
event.
ending. Like the
Yeah.
idea of destroying a society. And we don't like to think about it, but neighborhoods are like little societies, you know? Just like how weird your guys' old fucking neighborhood is and how you guys were talking about it all weird and candidly earlier.
Jonestown.
But anyway, so he finds out it's an apocalypse, and then Mobius tracks where, because he's like, oh, I had this kablooey gum that is from only this specific time period. And then they were able to use the two variants of time, like she needs to be at this period of time, and this gum needs to be available readily at a Nexus event spot. Like it needs to be something where like she's at the event, and it itself is presented in order for her to have the gum. So when they figure out what it is, it's basically this Buc-ee's, this like big communal store in Alabama that's getting taken down by a hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
You see like Loki comes with, and nobody trusts him but Mobius. But Mobius is like, I'd argue almost overly trusting. He was trying to give him his throwing daggers and shit.
Yep.
And I think that's a cool line to show that the TVA is not completely right about Loki in this moment, but neither is Mobius.
I
You
thought
know,
that was super interesting.
it's like he's not necessarily good. He's just
Yeah, he still needs a leash.
yeah, he's just not quite trained yet. You know. And what happens is they go inside. There's this TVA agent who's like basically doing like baba booey, like can't even think straight. Just like is all sorts of fucked up. And then off on their own because this one weird security guard who got in a fight with Loki because Loki's like clearly smarter than she is because she's a buffoon. She's like, I'm gonna take him and he's gonna be with me because I guess she thinks that Mobius is like someone who can't handle it, even though this is the bitch who let him escape the first time.
Yep.
She gets like crane arm gripped by fucking the Loki who's like using enchantments to like not only take over people's bodies but also like knock people out. And you see a nice little fight scene between Loki and this big burly ass like dude in this country store. Is there any other things from this episode you want to say before I get to the spoiler part?
I don't think so, no.
No, I mean I like I said, I like how they explain it. I like the show's logic.
Well, I think I just remembered one thing I missed. There's a lot of human moments in this episode too.
Yeah.
This is another good one if you like a Mobius Loki dialogue. They spend a lot of times trying to figure things out. There's this great soup scene where Loki's like pouring like all this stuff into the soup and he's like, but it won't matter once I do this, and like pours milk into the soup and like ruins the whole thing. He's like, see, all the pepper and all this stuff doesn't matter because you don't notice it because of all this milk. And that's how he like gave an example. This is what a Nexus event is. All these people are dying, but if I happen to stab one of them right before they get melted, it doesn't really matter, does it?
Yeah, I like how they like do the simple like explanations. Like they show you.
The one thing I really loved though is it was the only time in the whole show before later events, I won't get into it, where Loki is seeding doubt and it's kind of a religious conversation.
Yeah, I like when they're going back and forth when they're sitting at that table.
And it's all spawned from Mobius's love for jet skis.
Oh yeah, I
which I thought
that.
was really cool.
Yeah, he loves jet skis, but can never be on one.
Yeah, he can never stop to be on one, but he loves them conceptually. He thinks they're like one of the perfect things that man has made.
Yeah.
It's like the perfect between practical and fun is what he said. But anyway, so they're at the store. They find this chick that's all weirded out and like wiggled out from fucking Loki giving her the slap games in her brain. Mm-hmm. And eventually we see through them fighting and having their argument and Loki trying to get this like variant Loki to join sides with him. And then it's revealed that this variant Loki doesn't go by Loki. It's a woman named Sylvie, who I have theories is actually trans. And it's because of things I will talk about later. I just realized it'd be spoilery for Franny.
Well, we kind of saw part of it.
I got way more convincing evidence than that. So...
But they kind of set it up. They tell you that, like, Lokis can come in all forms.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But you'll see more. Like, you won't, but they'll know more what I'm talking about. Trust me, it's not what you think it is. I guarantee you there's something that you can't know that gives me a better idea. Anyway, so... he like follows her through this like tempad jump that she sets up, and she also like uses like all of this stuff to like get to the TVA and like bomb or try to bomb the what are the timekeepers?
Mm-hmm. Are they time lords? Timekeepers?
The timekeepers.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then it flashes to like Loki's like about to follow her in, and Moby's like, "Don't follow her in, stay with us, don't follow her in." And of course Loki's like, "Fuck that shit," and jumps through because it's Loki. And then that's the end of episode 2.
So good.
Thoughts on that episode? We might as well just rate each episode individually.
I like this episode. I like the introduction of Sylvie. I think that's a good character. I would give this episode an 8, 8.5.
I'd probably say 8. I remember when they were going through in the very beginning when they're like talking about the variants and they're showing all shapes and sizes of them. I was like, they're going to set up some really great stuff here. And I'm so excited for what they're going to do. And I also hadn't seen any of it. Like I had been avoiding trailers. I had been avoiding online, whatever. And I was very pleased by these little like things. And I think I was more excited by the build that this episode actually led to.
I think for this one, for me, it's an 8. I don't know if it's as good as the pilot, but it's close. I think the only annoying part for this, for me, is the beginning of the episode where we're dealing with all the Renaissance Fair stuff. I just think you can cut that entirely because we always knew that Loki wasn't trustworthy. The only thing that showed us was that she was nabbing temp heads, and she did that in the previous episode. Cut the whole thing. Get out of there.
Yeah,
The Renaissance Fair joke's not funny enough. It's not like good enough to like keep that whole scene. And like I said, nobody trusts him already. So this whole like, oh, it turns out he's untrustworthy. Well, fucking surprise. Like,
this episode is the last one that I feel like the pacing is okay. It's starting to get slow, but by the next episode, the pacing's.
I wonder what your opinion on Lamentus
So
is.
episode 3.
Let's get episode 3. Okay, so Lamentus. This is the worst episode of the whole show. I mean, this one is.
Yeah, this one almost pretty much made me lose interest.
Like, I wasn't. So the very beginning of the episode was good when they're at the TVA.
And you think she's actually going to get there.
And she thinks she's actually going to get there, and he's kind of the reason why she gets fucked.
Yep.
I like that. That was good. The moment they're on Lamentus. I mean, do you remember, what's that No Man's Sky, that horrible, that space game that everybody was like, this game's going to be awesome, and it sucked? That's this episode. I thought for sure that them getting sent to like an apocalypse together would be tight.
Same.
And they picked the most boring, fucking shitty, sad, purple, like, oh my God. It's like Grimace's cock, dude. It's so purple.
Oh my God.
It's far too purple, dude.
Yeah.
It's like Barney's fucking wang, bro. It's purple as shit in this bitch. It's too much. Like, I get that the planet has like a certain aura to it, but it looks gross. But with it like that the whole time, they don't play into it. They don't use characters like outfits to accentuate the style of everything. Like, there's nothing purple about it except for the fact that everything's purple. Like, it just looks like bad lighting to me. And also these characters were supposed to be like, they're coming together, they're learning shit about each other. Like, no, like, I don't care. Like, when they get on the ship because they've both combined their efforts now, I don't fucking care about that at all. Like,
right.
Like, I don't care that his version failed and her version failed, and the only way they can work together is by working together. I don't care.
Like,
I don't care.
Yeah,
because,
it's just too much.
Because for me, these characters, I don't believe yet are going to be companions in any way. I don't believe they're going to fight together. And you're giving me the how they're going to work together before the why they're going to work together.
Yeah.
And I just think it's trash. I just don't like it. The train scene, it's a little long. They're trying to have a conversation piece like with Mobius and everything. Oh, you know what? There is one other thing I liked from this episode, though. At the very beginning of it, you see that she dipped into that one TVA agent's mind because she's like at the bar with her on like planet Earth. Mm-hmm. And this is the episode where it's revealed that every TVA agent is actually a variant.
I like that. I like that spoiler.
I think that putting that at the beginning of that episode was cool because I didn't understand it fully. It felt like, for us, it felt like she was torturing her. But now that we know the context, it's not exactly that. It was real.
Yeah.
It was a real memory she pulls from. She can't create apparitions like that.
Which I thought was a cool limit to include.
Mm-hmm. And it's great plot-wise because then you're like, well, she did that to a TVA agent, meaning that it's definitely a variant, meaning that they're all being lied to, meaning that they're all probably variants. And Mobius likes jet skis because he used to have one probably.
Yep.
And
he's into water sports.
Yeah. So I think that that was great. But when they're talking on the train,
nice too, because it's like telling you this all powerful, all good thing that you've been told the whole time isn't necessarily what it seems.
Yeah.
So it kind of starts flipping stuff on the head, but it is so on the head. But all the rest of it is so fucking boring.
Yeah, the train scene, and then she wakes up and he's drunk and he's making a spectacle, and it's like, why should I care? Like, when has Loki ever done something like that? Ever.
It felt out of character.
He's mischievous and everything, but he's not a fucking moron.
He's supposed to be super cunning, and I think that's what threw me off because I was like, I do not feel like Loki would act this way. I feel like he'd be thinking, how the fuck am I going to murder this bitch behind her back, even though we're supposed to be working together? And
there was more things to make you believe that Sylvie might be trans in this episode, and then Loki reveals like he's been with princes and princesses and stuff, and shows that he's fluid with that. I thought that was interesting. But overall, it's not it, dog.
For me, I think this is the episode where I really started thinking this should not have been 6 episodes. This should have just been a 2-hour Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And I think that The only super interesting part that I really liked was when the ship gets destroyed at the end.
Really? Because I actually hated that.
Oh, really?
Because I was like, they were building, like, this whole episode is them building up to something and failing, building up to something and failing, building up to something, and then finally when I think, oh, wouldn't it be cool if they got the ship off and then, like, they're floating around in space in this random time? That'd be a good show. Why would we do that?
I
hated it.
I liked the ship getting destroyed. I did not like after it when they're looking into each other's eyes and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we had this moment." I thought that was kind of bullshit, but
Yeah.
I liked.
Isn't that actually technically the next episode? I think that's episode
Is it?
4. Yeah, I think that's episode. I think it ends with them being like, "Fuck." I think that's the
Oh,
way
maybe.
episode 3 ended. So,
Maybe.
you didn't know that.
I know. This is my exit.
I'm sorry.
Goodbye.
I'll see you guys in a little bit.
Goodbye.
Yeah, I wasn't going to care about spoilers at first, but Logan and Cody both let me know before recording that the payoff is well worth it. So I'll see y'all later.
Peace, gangsta.
Bye, Franny. You've been voted off the island.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Who will get the $1 million? Probably you.
I don't even have
Hopefully
that.
me.
Can I have some of it?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
At least like 10K at least.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, dude.
Have a
good
nice
friend.
down payment on a home.
Yeah. Get the car you always wanted.
It's a cane.
Okay, so episode 4, right?
Episode 4.
So they're like hanging out on Lamentus. They think they're about to die. Everything's storming down on them. Oh, we didn't rate the third one. Franny. Franny! You forgot to rate Lamentus.
She's coming.
I'm coming. She sounds so funny when she's off in the distance like that. Franny, rate Lamentus before you go.
Garbage.
That's not a number.
5.
That's not exactly
Oh.
garbage. That's a
I
lot
know, I
better
was
than
like,
I
that's
thought.
pretty median.
I would give it a 6.
I'm going to say like 4. This is an episode where I was like, you could have cut all of this. Like, legitimately, I don't know. A lot of it is just like, I don't know.
It's literally only a 5 because it's Marvel and also because I like looking at Loki.
Oh.
And I think the Sylvie character is a little... I kind of like her in this. I think it's a little fun. And I like the TVA thing, how they're all variants.
Should we do...
All right.
what
Do you want to hand Cody your headphones?
Yep.
Should we do what character she is before we...
I think
before
she already
goes?
did that earlier. She'd said it anyway. Oh, what character she is?
Yeah, what character she is.
I don't know. I don't really think she's represented here at all.
I'd say she's kind of like Sylvie.
I mean, I guess.
I'd say if she was anyone, she's Sylvie.
Yeah, I think if I was anyone, I'd have to be Sylvie. But I see where Logan's saying I'm not really represented here.
Do you want us just to end it without you or call you back in beforehand? I forgot if we discussed this.
You can call me back in. I want
All
to
right.
say bye to my fans.
Okay, goodbye then. Get out. Get out. Get the freaking heck out of here. Okay, so we got to go. All right. We got to hurry up with this, bro.
Damn. Okay.
That means, okay, here we go. So I don't know why she took that with her. I probably needed that, but it's fine.
That's okay.
Anyway, so episode 4, at the beginning, they think everybody's going to die. Everything's coming down on him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's about to embrace her romantically.
Yeah, they're about to have like this little thing.
I didn't know that was a thing. It feels like they kind of didn't earn that, don't you think?
Definitely not.
Seems like it kind of came out of nowhere and didn't make any sense at all.
They were like, oh, a male and a female?
A male and a female who are technically the same person, self-cessed 101. It seemed a little weird. But because that was so crazy, which I give the plot people this, that is crazy. You're about to make out with yourself. So what happens is they end up seeing the variants in that apocalypse and they go arrest them.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, they're kind of saved by the TVA in a weird way.
Yep. Which felt very convenient, to be fair.
And then they separate off into 2 sections. You know, Mobius is talking to Loki like, hey, man, like, I'm about to fucking torture you, bro, essentially. Like, got anything to tell me? And he's like, the TVA's lying to you. Mobius like, that's hilarious. You're a fucking meme. And sends him to get tortured, where he's repeatedly kicked in the balls and punched by Sif
Lady Sith.
the whole time for cutting her hair. And it's just on repeat while he's in this hell, right? And so that's all going on. meanwhile, Mobius is kind of prodding with the judge and saying like, "Hey, what happened to like fighter C-20 or whatever?" And she's like, "Oh, well, when she came back, she slowly lost her mind and just like died. Like she wasn't okay.
Yeah.
She was enchanted." And he's like, "What? That's crazy. That doesn't make any sense. She seemed fine when I last talked to her." And that kind of builds on him, along with the fact that Loki said what he said, and that's like starts itching at him a little bit. So the whole episode is kind of him like he sneaks around and he steals like her report chip for C-20 or whatever, sees that C-20 is saying the same thing that Loki said to Mobius at one point, that everybody's a variant.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there's a conversation in the middle somewhere there where Loki's like, "I love Sylvie," essentially, and everybody's like, "Ew, don't talk about it." And so, like, I really hate that plot line. So anyway, one thing leads to another. Mobius is like, these people are fucking bullshit. Him and Loki are about to go attack the TVA together, and then Mobius is fucking pruned on the spot.
Yep.
And so then Judge is like, "Grab me the two Lokis. We're gonna go talk to the Timekeepers." And boy, was that a mistake. Mistake, because those Lokis murdered everyone there, pruned all of these people, or stabbed them, and then were able to find out that the Timekeepers themselves were animatronics and not real.
Dun dun dun. They work out of Chuck E. Cheese.
And then right before Loki's about to embrace Sylvie again and explain to her like, "I fucking love you," essentially, he is also pruned.
And I love that this is the only one with a post-credit scene.
Yeah, and the post-credit scene is Loki awakens and he's surrounded by Comic-Con. No, he's surrounded by other Lokis. And then that's the end of that episode.
Yep.
Okay. What were your thoughts on that particular episode?
My problem is that the first episode or two and then the last episode or two are so solid that I can't see them without anything. But like these two middle episodes, I'm really like, why was this just not a movie? Because there's just so much stuff that I'm like, this could have been explained.
Really?
in
Because
5
I
seconds.
loved the fourth episode. I think the fourth episode does exactly what it's supposed to do in regards to the plot. I think that showing that the Timekeepers weren't real was important.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think what you're saying is not true of the fourth episode, but the third and the fifth episodes. I think the fifth episode truly does not need to exist, but it does for fanfare. But
Yeah.
I mean, literally, it could have been a 3-minute scene.
Yeah.
And it's a whole entire episode, and it is kind of bad in a lot of ways. So for this episode, I'm gonna give this one an 8 out of 10 as well.
I'm going to give this like a 7.
And Lamentus was like a 1. I think I forgot to review Lamentus.
Same. I think Lamentus was probably like a 3.
I mean, I'm
for me.
serious on a 1. I think it's unfucking watchable and almost made us stop the show.
Interesting.
Made Franny actually stop it.
Yeah.
Okay. Episode 5. Here we go.
So episode 5 is Loki awakens, and he is in this like quote unquote like purgatory type void thing where everyone who gets lasered and killed goes. Everyone who gets pruned. And pretty much it's him and a bunch of Lokis, like you were saying. It's basically fanfare where you get like alligator Loki who's sweeping the nation. You
Yeah,
get, like,
I know.
Little kid Yoki? Whoa.
Loki.
You get an older Loki. There's a Loki who's like,
There's a black Loki.
oh dang, no.
There is a black Loki. He's
Well,
black and he's Loki.
Yeah, but he's like, what does he have? It's like a, I don't know.
I thought he had a hammer, weirdly enough.
That's what I was gonna say. I think he had a hammer, but I couldn't remember if that was true or not.
I think so. I think he had a hammer.
So basically, they take him to like this hideout, and like no one's explaining to him or to the audience for like 5 minutes, saying like, "Hey, like we're basically just surviving here. This is where everyone, like whenever reality is destroyed, this is where the things go to, and it's been guarded by this big dog, cloud, lion, tiger thing." And basically, they go to the secret hideout, and Loki is Loki. He's having a bunch of confrontation with Lokis because they're all betraying each other. And there's an uprising at one point where he's like, "Oh no, I betrayed you because you promised me I'd be king." He's like, "Well, I'm going to be king." And all of his suppressors around him are like, "Well, we're going to be king."
And it's funny because he's just like an election Loki. Like that's why he's king in the first place, because this is the political one. And the Loki fight is bad.
It's bad.
I think it's bad. I think it's bad enough to be annoyed by it. especially since our Loki doesn't really have to fight anyone. He just kind of snakes through the thing, and it just felt like pointless fanfare, and that's why this episode's kind of bad. But you do see that Sylvie in the real world, or I should say at the TVA, prunes herself, and then runs into Mobius in like this after place, right?
Yep.
And they both come to the same conclusion. Loki's probably still alive. We need to find him. Conveniently find him in like 10 seconds. Come on. It's true.
Yeah, it's true.
And then the other Lokis, even though 5 seconds before were all agreed on fighting this thing together, they all then agree to not. All of a sudden for no reason.
Because they're like, there's a car, that means they're cannibals.
Yeah.
And that's their excuse.
No. They say that, but then when they meet them, like, oh, you guys are all friends? Well, we're just not going to do this since you have friends now. Okay, stupid. Okay. Then, like, through one way or another, Loki and Sylvie start approaching this, I think it's Alalith or something, or Alith, or Alalith. How do you pronounce it?
It's like Ilith or Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish is there. She's like, I'm a bad guy. She's a bad guy. Anyway, that song's so dumb. Anyway. No, you know what? I'm not trying to be a hater here. It made her a lot of money. Good for her. Anyway. Yeah, it's fine. It's not bad. So, they like approach this smoke monster thing, this mist monster, and they're fighting him, and because the other Loki decides to distract them and makes an entire world with his magic. Oh, by the way, this old Loki decided this for no reason, and he decides to help for no reason, and he comes back and he's like building like basically Asgard with his magic.
Yep.
And then the smoke thing is like taking Asgard. And then they're able, because Sylvie convinces our Loki to like try to enchant it with her, and it works.
And they have a cute scene where it's like stronger than
and
we
Mobius
know.
went back to the TVA with the tempad they had.
Yep.
And then because this mist was guarding the end of time, I guess, they walk through it, and then that is the conclusion of that episode.
Yep. Is this also the episode where is it the episode before where Sylvie takes back the one CFO who's like, show me? Like, she had already been brainwashed, but they didn't take her away because I guess they didn't know.
I think that was actually episode 4.
Okay. So I'm getting these two mixed up for some reason, even though they're vastly different. And I agree with you. I think episode 4 was really solid, and it was 5 that made me struggle. I remember
five is just like, it's just fanfare and then like emptiness.
Mm-hmm.
And, Alligator Loki's cool and all, but when I only have 6 episodes of the show and you don't have a good enough reason to introduce him, They just don't.
Can't relate. He was my favorite part.
I think he was just so underused.
Agreed.
And now he's gone forever.
It's a phenomenon. Apparently, you can't get his Funko Pop anywhere.
Nice. So the episode 6 starts, and the whole time during episode, I think it's episode 6 when this is happening. Actually.
Oh, we also didn't talk about the thing at the end of 5.
Which thing?
The dog separates, and then there's this like citadel.
Yeah. They go. I was gonna say you don't know it's necessarily a citadel till the next episode.
It's like a big.
But they like walk
place
through this portal to get to the end of time. Is what I said.
Yeah. What would you rate that episode though?
This episode 5.
Episode 5.
This is a 6 out of 10.
I could see that. I'm
It's
actually
better-
gonna give it a 5.
I think that if you were to ask me, should you just full on remove this episode? No, I think there's enough fun stuff for people to want it to exist, and it's got fun stuff in it. And the part with the enchanting, that could have been a cool scene in a better episode.
Mm-hmm.
But it's better than Lamentus. Like it deserves to exist. I think it's enough fanfare and enough fun for people to be like, oh, that's cool. There's an alligator.
This was definitely the episode where I was like, it should have just been a movie, because this was a lot of just like extra flab on a piece of work that's really great.
Yeah.
It just felt like it really wasn't needed. And I just have such high hopes for Marvel where I'm like, if it could have been a movie, it should have been a movie. But
it's such a draw for Disney Plus too.
And
they did get to do a few things that they probably couldn't have done if it was a movie, like they got to add some extra stuff. I don't know if the Miss Minutes character would have been as interesting. Okay, so episode 6. The lady from the TVA is trying to get info, and Miss Minutes, we clearly know now, is like a structure above her. Like it's not just a program. This is something that reports to the person who's in charge of everything. I can't remember his name. He Who Remains is what they call him in this.
He Who Remains. And he's some scientist.
Amongst other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, a scientist is, I guess that's a good way to describe him. Anyway, we find out in this episode, after they enter, this guy, he knows everything that's going to happen up until a point, and we're about to get to that point. But until then, like when someone's trying to swing on him or something, he like can dodge out of the way instantly. It's because he knows everything happening up to a point. And at this time, he explains to them, like, a long time ago, I used to be this guy, and I essentially discovered the multiverse.
Right.
And then as a result, the multiverse was like kind of like open, and there was a lot of universes talking to one another and participating with one another, until one day other versions of himself were causing wars
Because they wanted to be the superior thing.
Yeah, they wanted to be king of the universes, king of the multiverse. And he explained like his TVA is what he basically won because he figured out a way to stop branch universes because he's one of the smarter ones. And he thought, as horrible as the universe is, if I keep things this way, it'll never open to the multiverse.
Right.
So it's been like eons and eons of like basically not harmony, but like one universal strand while the others are just like extinguished. And then what he says is like, basically this is the introduction of Kang. And I think that is a fucking dope-ass introduction to introduce the new baddie in this way, where basically he says, like, if you guys don't take over the TVA and be like, you know, my little guinea pigs and like control the time streams and everything, you're going to open up a bunch of timelines and it's going to be a multiverse war and everyone and all existences are going to die.
Yep.
And the worst one of us is this, he doesn't say his name, but we see a statue of him at the TVA.
At the very end.
And if you know anything about the comics, that guy is going to be the new bad for sure. And I think introducing him as the new bad by having him play a different character essentially and like to introduce him into a show is a lot cooler. I feel like we're going to see multiverse versions of this character, like the one who remains or whatever, like all the different versions of him. We're going to see it play out throughout the Marvel Universe before we get to you know who. And it's going to be like a gradual thing.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad they picked this actor because even though there's parts of his performance from like, I can tell that he's energized about it and like he's going to do a lot. But like, were you kind of annoyed with like he kind of was like an Instagram version of like the guy from The Matrix where like who tells you everything. Like he had that same vibe where it was like, I have all the answers, but he was like a little bit like Instagram filter about it.
I agree. I felt he was really solid up to a point. Like, and literally I think the line was, I fibbed a little. And I was like, you almost had me. And then him going on and explaining, like, I know it happens to a certain point of time in which it's either you decide to A, take over, or B, create a bunch of multiverses and we all go to war and we all die. That I liked him, but I'm very interested to see how he takes on this role.
And if it will be him playing it or if they can like base it off of like he's just a multiverse version of him. But I want the guy to play him. I think that'd be interesting.
Because it might be a variant version. They might hire a different actor because like Sylvie's a Loki, so.
But also in this, I really feel like Sylvie is trans and like chose to be a girl because the whole show keeps punching on this. Have you ever met a female Loki? No. And there's all these Lokis and they've met all sorts. They've met alligator Lokis. Like they've met everything. I think that this Loki was trans. And the reason why she was picked up is because she decided to be a little girl playing with toys on Asgard. And that's what made her a variance.
And that's why when the CFO's like, I don't remember.
Yeah.
And she's like really frustrated by that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Interesting.
Because it's for something that like, you know, like is so fucked up too. Like the fact that she had to run her whole life. And that's a great trans story if that's what it is. I think that that's really indicative of the struggles that they go through in real life. Like being wholly rejected and told you don't have the right to exist because you're trans. Mm-hmm. That's a great character to make trans. And that's why the fact that there's so much time given to the Loki Sylvie romance, and it's just annoying. I just don't buy them. I don't buy them romantically. I buy them as like friends that work together. I buy them as like two buddy cop detectives in the same story. I don't fucking buy their romance. It's not real. It doesn't make, it's not believable to me. And even more so, the fact that Loki was the fucking dirty bastard Loki from 2012 and he really wasn't going to backstab Sylvie at the end there. I just kind of find it bullshit, no matter how much he's changed. But the fact that she backstabbed him was kind of tight though.
I loved that. And she basically caused all of the problems for the MCU for the next like 5-10 years.
And dude, that ending scene. Well, first I want to say one other thing. The moment where he realizes that time's ended and he's like doesn't know what's gonna happen next. Mm-hmm. They keep the camera on him for the whole duration of the discovery of it. He's like, oh, like I don't know what's gonna happen next. Isn't that weird? Like he like acts it out, and you're like, oh shit, that's so fucking tight. So I give that a big bonus as well. But what I was going to say is the best part is the ending. The ending of this show is tight as fuck. So Loki is sent to the TVA, right? And he's like running through the library and stuff, and he approaches Mobius and he goes, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. And then he realizes like he's in an alternate dimension. Mm-hmm. And what you learn at that moment when he looks at the statues, he's in Kang's dimension. Yep. He's not in the time, the He Who Should Remain or any like nicer, more innocent persons. He's in Kang's universe.
Yep.
Tight.
I loved it. My jaw literally dropped when I saw the statue. I was like, oh shit. Shit.
And then Mobius being like, who are you? Like, are you from accounting? Like, oh, that was so fucking good.
It was so good. There's a theory running around right now that the show is actually supposed to be 12 episodes, and that's why they've already confirmed a second season, and the post-credit scene was because this was supposed to be the halfway point. So I find that very interesting too, and I'm curious to see, because I did kind of feel like there should be more, but then I was also like, well, I could see.
I knew that they were going to do the multiverse angle because of Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. It's not like I knew what she was going to decide. I just like the way they did it. So what do you rate this episode, buddy?
This episode's like a 9.5 for me.
I give this one a 9, and it's a strong 9. I think that pretty much every scene in it doesn't feel like it's dragged out. It's all character building and awesome.
I agree.
It's a really good episode, and even with how annoying at times He Who Remains comes off, it's always interesting when he's talking to them.
Even the stuff with the TVA where they're like they took the one dude to see the judge in her real life before she leaves. I thought that was super interesting. Like all of it was just super solid.
And then the last thing I really enjoyed too was the Miss Minutes conversation between them before when she was just like, I can offer you guys the perfect life, this, that, and the other.
He's impressed.
Yeah, that was so fucking chilling and so good, because then you're getting the vibe, is he scared to see them? And he wasn't. It was just another one of his weird wacko things and tests that they passed. It was weird. It's weird. He worked with their free will while keeping them within boundaries that he wrote. It's very strange.
It's so strange.
But I'm going to go ahead and pause because I think we got what we needed. Yeah. And then I'll get Franny. Welcome back, Franny.
Hi, Fran.
Hi.
We did the best we could to say it as fast as we could to not go over time, and I think we pulled it off.
Yeah, you did, for sure.
But what we need to do now is say our goodbyes.
Oh.
Well, bye, guys. It's nice talking to you.
Franny.
Well, bye.
I'm kidding. We've got some stuff to say first. You can check us out at A Pilot Podcast, youtube.com/A Pilot Podcast, Twitter at A Pilot Podcast.
You can also listen to me and Franny do our other podcast, which is Crosscut Cinema, over at the Crosscut Cinema channel, youtube.com/Crosscut Cinema, where we review movies with our two friends. And then also, if you want to hear stuff just from me, I have my own private channel, youtube.com/Logan Tyler. Sorry, Logan Tyler Music, get owned. And what I do is I post clips from the podcast there, as well as my own individual projects, any sort of video content, anything fun. You just go over there, you subscribe to make sure you don't miss out on anything. That is me.
Nice. I have a YouTube channel. Please go subscribe so I can have my own domain. That'd be really great.
That'd be good. I feel like he deserves it at this point.
For sure.
Also, I have music out. There's a song called Temple. It's on my YouTube channel. It's on all streaming platforms. Go listen to it.
Yeah, when we left the description and we did a community post about it, for one video we got like 1,000 views. The other one we got like 600 or something.
Yeah.
You guys just need to go blow up all of his music because I feel like you guys would really like it. And you guys don't need to subscribe so that way he can have what he deserves.
Yeah.
And also, please subscribe to this channel and like it because we want to do more content, and that lets us know that you really like
That
it.
you're into it. That we
Yeah.
should dedicate time to it. All right.
For sure.
Peace out, gangsters. Keep it real.